The night before Julian and I were going to sign the marriage certificate at City Hall, he bolted to pick out a wedding gown with his first love. When I walked in, a sales associate was gushing that they were a perfect match, so photogenic together. Julian spotted me, cool as ever, and said, "Whitney heard I was getting married, so she flew back from overseas overnight. I don't want her left with any regrets." I didn't waste words. I spun around and left. Julian figured I was throwing a tantrum, so he didn't chase. Even after I posted "single available" on Instagram, he still thought I was venting. Later, when he cornered me at Riverdale, the man he saw shielding me said, "I heard Serena got screwed over, so I flew back overnight. I don't want regrets of my own." Before we go further, subscribe to the channel and drop a comment telling us where you're listening from. Outside the bridal salon I stood perfectly still. I watched Julian light up as he waited for Whitney to step out in the gown. That was the moment I realized we were done. A month earlier I'd begged him, literally 10 times, before he'd grudgingly agreed to help me choose a dress. The whole appointment he stared at his phone. Each time I asked his opinion he'd mumble, "Looks fine." I'd seen the mirror behind him, he'd been texting Whitney. But I didn't call him out. First, strangers were watching, and I wouldn't humiliate him. Second, I figured if he was willing to marry me, he'd eventually ghost her. I'd had a Dylan-shaped white moon in high school. I knew cutting someone off takes time. So I gave him space. Now I'm done waiting. Julian and Whitney can't quit each other. Give them 100 years and they still wouldn't be over. Because when Whitney glided out of the fitting room, Julian looked at her with awe, tenderness, lingering desire, an expression he's never aimed at me. Maybe I'd loitered too long. An idle attendant approached. "Hi, miss, are you here to select a gown?" Her voice snapped Julian's head around. "Why are you here?" he asked, stiff for a second, then smooth again. Whitney's face drained of color and she ducked behind him. That tiny move chilled his eyes. My presence annoyed him. "Whitney heard I was getting married, so she flew back overnight. I don't want her left with regrets," he explained. "Sure. I really just don't want her to regret anything," he repeated, as though gentleness excused it. I gave a soft hum and shifted my weight. Both legs had gone pins and needles. "Carry on, don't mind me," I said, voice flat. Julian clicked his tongue, annoyed. "How can she try on dresses if you're standing there?" I glanced past him at Whitney, veiled in lace, eyes glinting like she'd won. See? One phone call beats 11 years. Truly a scumbag paired with a saint, match made in heaven. She doesn't dare? She dares plenty, I shot back. She hauls my fiancé here to test drive gowns the night before my wedding. If she lacked guts, pigs would sprout wings. Julian's jaw tightened, he hadn't expected me to torch the script. The same clerk who'd praised their couple goals now hovered, cheeks flaming. A month ago, for the sake of the marriage, I'd swallowed the insults. Now I felt like hiring a skywriter. I left as soon as blood returned to my feet. Julian called something after me. I didn't care. I married Dylan the next morning because grandfather was dying. His last wish, see me settled with a decent man. Julian and I had been a corporate alliance. At first he treated me well, posted couple pics on Instagram. Later I learned it was all to make his overseas muse jealous. Julian's heart had always belonged to her. I was just the prop he used to prove he was thriving. Fine, none of my business now. While I plotted how to face my parents, someone seized my shoulder hard enough to bruise. "Serena, can you stop the drama?" Julian hissed. "We're signing the certificate tomorrow. I only want to keep Whitney from lifelong regret. Show some grace as the lawful fiancé." Your pettiness screams small-town peasant. Hearing him made me nauseous. My fiancé, doting on another woman, expected magnanimity. I shoved his hand away and slapped him. "Get lost and stay lost." Shock cracked his mask, anger flared, then iced over. "Say that again, Serena." Julian, he opened his mouth, but Whitney, still in tulle, rushed out, so he swallowed the threat. 11 years of biting my tongue had split my head. The outburst felt great, the fallout would be ugly. I stomped through puddles left by an afternoon downpour, tasting rust and rain. 11 decent years still couldn't top his ghost. Back home, sprawled on the bed, I scrolled Instagram. Julian had posted Whitney in the gown. Caption, "Made for each other." I laughed, then fumed. So I tapped out my own post, for plain words, "single available." My phone imploded, notifications spazzed like strobe lights. Most people asked what happened, I answered only close friends. Hundreds commented under my post, but Julian stood out, "Quit the theatrics." City, 9 a.m. As if the whole mess were a calendar invite. Our mutual friend sided with him. "Come on, sis, Julian just needs closure with Whitney." Don't be petty. It's one photo, no need to sulk. They've been buddies forever. If anything real was there, you wouldn't exist, right? Clown after clown scrolled by, until a friend request jumped onto my screen, Dylan. I whispered the name, my once-in-a-lifetime Dylan. The name Dylan glowing on my phone felt like a crack in time, shoving me straight back to those green, awkward years. It started senior year of high school. Who wouldn't fall for the guy who was gentle, brilliant, and calm under pressure? Right before graduation, I slipped a love letter inside his desk. In it I said, if you feel the same, meet me on the track field. I waited from dawn till the lights clicked on again at night. The field glowed, but he never showed. We hadn't even exchanged numbers. The next thing I heard, he'd left for college. Overseas. That teenage crush shriveled and died, until today, when the seed I thought was long dead twitched and tried to sprout. I still don't know what impulse made me tap accept friend request. But the second I saw typing, pulsing above Dylan's chat bubble, my heart ricocheted around my ribs. Really? That was the first line Dylan sent. I answered with a shy sticker of a nodding kitten. The bubble went back to typing. 2 very long minutes later, 2 words appeared, wait for me. I never expected him to show up this fast. At 8:30 sharp I stared at the brand new marriage certificate in my hand, convinced I was dreaming. Yesterday at this exact hour the man now grinning at me had been a total stranger. Words failed. But inside, I was fireworks. The boy I couldn't have at 16 was finally, legally mine. Mind if I post this on Instagram? I whispered. Dylan nodded, slung an arm around my shoulders like a selfie stick, and pulled me close. I flashed the just out of the printer certificate at the lens and beamed. The second the post went live, my phone rang. Julian. Serena, what the hell is this? His voice cracked through the speaker. I only went wedding gown shopping with Whitney once. Are you seriously trying to punish me? Dylan was overseas yesterday, he can't have married you today. I know you crushed on him in high school, but Photoshop? Really? I blinked. On speaker, Dylan heard every entitled word. He didn't interrupt, just let out a soft, amused puff of air. I'd picked well, even his chuckle was gorgeous. Then Julian exploded. Serena, why is there a man next to you? We're supposed to get married today, and you're off with some guy? A beat, then the light bulb moment. No wonder you pulled that Instagram stunt, you've been cheating. Listen up, Serena. I'm still in a decent mood. Get to City Hall now. I'm 5 minutes away. He hung up before I could answer. Dylan and I traded looks. He lifted one shoulder. Want me to stay while you CL? Oath the book on him? After all these years he hadn't changed, still quietly protective. I leaned against the car, watching Julian's sedan speed toward us, and felt giddy freedom bubbling up. Before Julian reached us I asked Dylan to wait inside the car. This was between Julian and me. Dylan didn't need the splash damage. He adjusted his glasses, slid into the passenger seat, and shut the door. I closed it after him and turned just as Julian strode up. Had your fun? His tone was ice with a patina of boredom. He scanned the curb, didn't spot the other man, and relaxed. Whitney and I are ancient history. You don't have to keep punishing me. He talked like he was doing me a favor. Come on, 11 years together, you expect me to flip a switch? That's cold, Serena. He kept going, implying I should be reasonable, mature. Translation, let him keep one foot in both camps. Excuse me? I never minded an ex, everyone has a past. But nobody signs up to play second fiddle in her own marriage. We're at City Hall, he announced, seizing my wrist. Let's get it over with. I yanked free and stepped back. Did you even look at my Instagram? I asked, voice flat. He blinked, then sighed. Stop with the fake pictures. Dylan is not back. Quit throwing a tantrum. I'm letting the stunt you pulled on Whitney slide, don't push me. He reached again, I dodged. His words froze the last ember of hope I hadn't known was still glowing. I faced him, done. You love your precious Whitney so much, go marry her. Stop dressing your cowardice up as devotion and demanding 2 women fight over you. News flash, Julian, we are officially over. Bye. No encores. The air tasted sweeter the instant I stopped talking. I climbed into the car and looked at Dylan, world, fixed in one frame of perfect. The universe balanced itself for about 2 seconds, then my mother called. Dad grabbed the phone first and roared so loud I had to hold it away. Serena, are you insane? Julian just told me you backed out. Yo. You're 25. Your grandfather doesn't have forever. Julian is a catch, he still wants you after the scene you made. Every man keeps a little something on the side. Be like your mother, magnanimous. He could have said anything, he had to mention her. If he hadn't fooled around and let his mistress bang on our door, Mom might still be alive. My fingers whitened around the phone, spots swam in front of my eyes. Just before I detonated, warm fingers closed over mine. Dylan had pulled over. He stroked my knuckles, took the phone with my nod. Dad was still barking, "Get to City Hall and apologize." Dylan laced our fingers together and lifted the phone. "Sorry, sir. Serena already married me." A stunned beat. "Who is this?" Dylan met my eyes, reassuring. "Her high school classmate, you and I met once. We signed the marriage certificate an hour ago. If you'd like, we can come show Grandpa right now." Dad made a strangled sound and finally grunted, distracted. Something felt off. When had Dylan ever met my father? But we were already at the hospital. Grandpa struggled upright when he saw me. "Little Serena, they say you didn't marry Julian." "Why, child?" I didn't give Grandpa the specifics, he has a bad heart. I was afraid hearing what Julian had done might send him into cardiac arrest, so I kept it vague, then tugged Dylan closer. "Grandpa, Dylan's my husband now. Let's not bring up Julian again." "Nice to meet you, sir. I'm Dylan." Grandpa squinted for a long moment, then nodded happily. "Handsome boy, even better looking than Julian. Our Serena's got good taste." He patted my hand, laughing. Dad rolled his eyes from the side. "Pretty face is useless. He shows up empty-handed to see his elder." The scorn in his voice was unmistakable. "Dad, you told us to come at the last minute." I glared, he only snorted. "Julian dropped by on a whim too, but look, flowers and supplements, not a thing missing." Stepmother chimed in with her usual 2 cents. Pressing my temples, I felt a headache coming on. The reason they adore Julian is the size of the Caldwell family's bank account. It's Dylan's first meeting and they're already slinging barbs. I won't let him be ganged up on. I let go of Grandpa's hand, ready to fire back, but Dylan's cool fingers brushed the knot between my brows. "From what I see, Grandpa's condition can't handle heavy tonics, those supplements are pointless." He turned to my father. "You're right, I didn't bring gifts. But I booked an appointment with him." Dad and stepmother's faces twitched, they swallowed whatever sarcasm was next. Dylan sat beside me and told Grandpa, "He's a friend of mine, a cardiologist overseas. I know that name, his waiting list runs 3 years. How'd you manage it?" "I flew in this morning. Turns out he was my roommate in grad school." Silence swallowed the room. Grandpa beamed, thumping Dylan's shoulder. "Thoughtful kid. I can rest easy knowing Serena's with you." Dad cleared his throat, hunting for lost authority. "Well, then, we'll say no more. Serena's stubborn, indulge her." The words tasted like sawdust. Stepmother hurried to agree. Of course, of course. Landing his appointment is wonderful." Dylan merely smiled, as if every chess piece were his. That effortless aura had me dizzy again, and I forgot the remark he'd made in the car about meeting Dad before. The day after we flew home with Grandpa, Dylan shepherded us abroad. Watching him meet me at Riverdale, whisk Grandpa off the plane, sprint through admissions, and assign a private nurse, everything felt pre-planned. "Dylan," I whispered in the car heading to his house. He answered with a soft "Why did you disappear without a word back then?" He stayed silent until we were inside his place. When he produced a brand new pair of women's slippers, still boxed, my suspicion peaked. "Dylan." I caught his arm in the foyer, the loose keys crashed to the floor. "You've been keeping tabs on me, haven't you?" He lifted me onto the shoe bench so I sat ahead, taller, then looked up. In the dim entry light the air was thick with unspoken history. I leaned down and kissed him. A ringtone dragged me out of the haze. I killed the call, wrapped my arms around his neck, but the phone vibrated again, and again, for more times, until I barked, "Hello? Where are you?" Julian shouted. "I've called a dozen times. Whitney's threatening suicide because you jilted me. Get over here and apologize, now." The nerve. I licked my lips and pinned Dylan's wandering hand. "If she wants to die, dial 911. If she's already tried, take her to the ER. If it's just drama, haul her to psych, save the doctors the extra work." My throat was raspy when I finished. Dylan's eyes glinted, he pecked the corner of my mouth. "Do you have a cold?" Julian demanded. "What are you doing?" Whether Dylan couldn't wait or meant to mark me, he snapped his hips twice, then sealed my gasp with another kiss. "Serena, you don't have to go this far for show," Julian said after a pause, smug again. "If you're trying to punish me for not paying attention during that gown fitting, fine, you win. Come back, I booked the boutique. We'll try again." He sounded magnanimous, the wounded saint. "Seek help, both of you. If regular hospitals can't fix your delusion, try the psych ward." Early intervention saves everyone time. I hung up. Across town Julian sat in a bar while his buddies chimed, "Bro, she's just mad, sweet talk her and she'll come back. Must be a voice clip to mess with you." He stared at the screen, scowl deepening. Grandpa's surgery went flawlessly. A month later we landed back home. The looping birthday montage on Riverdale's LED billboards made me pause. Whitney's celebration, commissioned by Julian. In 11 years he had never marked my birthday. One year he even flew out to visit Whitney that very day. Dylan squeezed my fingers, eyes hurt. Missing him? I cupped his face, kissed him, ruffled his hair. Thinking about him, thinking how I'd love to punch his smug face. Grandpa was chauffeured to the hospital. Dylan and I leaned against the car watching Riverdale's foot traffic. A sudden screech of brakes spun me around. Julian climbed out, haggard, hair unkempt, shirt wrinkled, looking like he'd slept in a dumpster. The instant Julian stepped out of the car his eyes locked on me, then flicked, almost reflexively, to Dylan at my side. Shock and naked panic flooded his face. It was as if Dylan's return were some impossible miracle he'd never prepared for. How could you be back?" Julian's voice trembled, half demand, half plea. I shot him a puzzled look. Why was Dylan's homecoming making him come unglued? Dylan felt my confusion. The fingers curled around mine brushed my palm twice, a silent promise. And why exactly shouldn't I be? He moved in front of me, smile easy, body shielding me from Julian's stare. His tone stayed almost lazy, which only made Julian look more unhinged. "I had people watching you, how did you still get on a plane?" Julian's voice dropped to a manic mutter. "I stole Serena's love letter to you, took it straight to her father. You've been gone for years, why crawl back now? Why wreck the life Serena and I have?" By the last sentence he was shouting, spit flying. Dylan kept our joined hands hidden behind his back. A tiny twitch of his fingers said, "See? The mask just fell. I didn't ghost you, I was driven out. That was meant for me." The second I heard someone trashed Serena, I grabbed the first flight. No way was I letting the girl I love rot in a lie. That part was for Julian. Julian collapsed to his knees like a puppet with its strings cut, eyes blood red. "I'm sorry, Serena, this is my fault. I never should have gone wedding gown shopping with Whitney. Forgive me, please? I swear I love you. Why else would I have schemed to ship Dylan overseas? Whitney never meant anything, it's always been you." On the plaza behind him the digital billboard lit up again with Whitney's birthday montage, shredding the sincerity of his apology. He must have caught my glance because he shuffled closer on his knees. "This eats at you, right?" Hope and relief warred on his face. "If you're jealous, you still love me, don't you? I knew it, 11 years, you had to fall for me eventually. You're only dangling Dylan to punish me, make me jealous. Congratulations, it worked, I'm jealous as hell. Come back to me. I'll cut Whitney off right now, yank every one of those ads. Serena, please, just come home." His speech struck me as pathetic and hilarious in equal measure. "Pass." I stepped out from behind Dylan, hands still clasped in his. "What?" Julian whispered. I said no thanks, do you need it in neon? I don't want your apology or your vows. I spelled it out the other night, we're done. If you ever loved me, where was that love for 11 straight years? You spent them mooning over Whitney's photos. Now she's actually here, you're on your knees begging me? You think this performance makes you look devoted? Nope, it just proves you're a cheap, desperate coward. If you'd climbed to your feet, dusted off, and sworn you'd stay out of my life, I might have respected you. Instead you're a basket case with a bad case of wishful thinking." Julian stayed kneeling, face the color of chalk. He hadn't expected this level of finality, each excuse knotted in his throat until he couldn't force out a sound. "Dylan and I set our own wedding for a month away. We figured smooth sailing from here, until 48 hours later the drama flipped to Whitney. Julian's U-turn had stranded her, she'd abandoned everything abroad to chase him. She begged, but he wouldn't even look at her. He blamed her for my exit, and through his pull he got her hired as a hostess at a downtown club. After the groping, the insults, the lewd tips, she bolted to the roof and, with half the city filming, accused me of stealing her man. This was her second rooftop stunt. The first time she threatened to jump I refused to apologize and she climbed down anyway. So the crowd already knew the script, and the comments roasted her for playing mistress yet playing victim. Cornered, she wobbled, almost slipped, before cops hauled her back from the ledge. When the circus ended, officials put Whitney on a plane with a one-way stamp, "Don't come back." Whitney's circus barely folded before Julian grabbed the next headline. A car clipped him. He rang me, voice quivering, claiming Dylan ran him down in revenge. "Big bad wolf crying bunny," spare me. Dylan hadn't left my side for days. I glanced at him sprawled across the couch, shrugged, and deleted Julian's number. Days later Julian showed up at my door in a hospital gown. I meant to ignore the bell, but Dylan said closure was owed. I opened the door. Julian dropped again, one leg cased in plaster. His eyes swam with regret. Serena, I've screwed up plenty, but my feelings for you were real. His voice rasped, I'll change, just give me the stage to prove it. I answered without a ripple of emotion. Julian, love isn't a talking contest, it's a doing contest, and the clock ran out. For 11 years I handed you chances on a silver platter. You tossed every one, and all I ever collected was disappointment. From now on my future comes first, and you're not in the frame. I shut the door, called the Caldwell family to come collect their heir, and walked away. As for the Vance circus helmed by Dad and his new wife, I was done. I drop in only to visit Grandpa. Late on our wedding night I curled inside Dylan's arms. He traced the faint bite mark on my shoulder. What did that love letter you wrote say? He shifted closer. I caught my breath before answering. It doesn't matter, old paper belongs in the past. The only pages worth turning are the ones ahead of us. Thanks for listening. If you liked the story, smash the like button and share it with friends. Hit the comments, let us know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next episode.